Yes, I'm drinking G Fuel at 11 o'clock at night. There's a lot to cover in this video, as you will see. What's poppin', guys? Guard Champion here, and today, we are finally continuing my series where I put the Hashira up against an upper rank demon. This video will feature the Hashiras going up against upper rank 4 Hantengu, as well as his clones. The video structure for this was a little difficult to kind of put together because I honestly wasn't sure how to do it. There are multiple different clones and a lot of different variables that can come into play. With that said, I think it's important to lay down my assumptions on the Hashiras ranked by strength and then break down Hantengu's abilities so I'm not breaking this stuff down midway through. We'll start with Hantengu. He is upper rank 4 and has 7 different forms all based on specific emotions. The main body is fear. Sekido is anger, Karaku is pleasure, Aitsu is sorrow, Urogi is joy, Zohakuten is hatred, and Urami is resentment. Each clone has different abilities and character traits. That should be obvious because they all act like they're assigned emotion. We'll start with Hantengu's main body's abilities. He cannot be killed by decapitation at first, because once he is beheaded, then Sekido and Karaku will always be the first ones to emerge. Then once they are beheaded, then Aitsu and Urogi emerge. There is no information on when Urami comes to be other than Hantengu uses him as a last resort and just appears when confronted by Dandro. The main body has great stealth capabilities, as he basically enters the swordsmith village and the building where Tandro and Michiro were without being noticed. He has high durability as Genya, powered up with demon flesh, was unable to decapitate him due to the lack of strength or the ability to. We are shown that Michiro easily decapitates the main body, showing the difference in power between the two. He is able to change in size, being able to shrink in order to hide and flee. Another trait that is overlooked is his speed. Being a coward, you must be fast as hell to get out of tough situations. We are shown him running incredibly fast, being trailed by Tandro, Genya, and Nezuko, all while he is super small. One thing to note is that he does not outspeed a thunder-breathing user with their techniques, as Tandro uses this to catch up to him and attack. He also has a high-pitched scream, but this is irrelevant to me because it only causes Tandro discomfort and not any real damage. Before we get into the other clones, it is stated that when he divides into these clones, they retain the same level of strength as an upper 4 demon. So they aren't any weaker than the main body by any means. They just contain different abilities. This includes the decapitation immunity. Sekido can produce lightning with the staff and is immune to his own abilities. This isn't always the case though, as we'll see later on. He also has the ability to summon the clones and absorb them. This process destroys their flesh and even the clones do not like it. Karaku uses his fan to push opponents in whatever direction the fan is used in. This is used to send opponents far away or to push them to the ground with immense pressure, enough to even collapse a floor. He can create more than one at a time and change their size to increase the effect of the wind. From this point forward, all clones have immunity to Sekido's lightning, but can all be affected by Karaku's wind. This is displayed when Nezuko uses the leaf against him and blew him away. This is also interesting because it's similar to an ability that Kyogai had, where his drum was ripped off and others were able to use it. Aitsu is next. He uses a spear that is used for close combat, but it can also shoot deadly projectiles from it. It is speculated that he is the most dangerous of the 4, due to the projectiles being deadly if hit once, where the other attacks are survivable. The final one of the 4 main clones, Urogi. Unlike his other demonic brethren, he has wings, large claws, and eagle feet. He has the ability of flight and a powerful sound-based attack, enough to cause tinnitus and deafen opponents. He can also use flesh puppets to utilize his sound attacks, so if a limb is severed, it can change form and attack slow. Tandro does note that these flesh puppets are not as strong as the main body. Uromi is next, and there's not much known about him. He shares his power with Zohakuten, so his strength is being depleted from him. Therefore, he is actually being nerfed for the entirety of his existence during this fight in the Swordsmith Village. He is large in size, has immense strength, and can utilize Urogi's sound waves. His size seems to be his key attribute, as it is used for defensive purposes to overpower opponents. It's a large vessel, so it takes more time for the sunlight to destroy, as he is shown still running while the sun is hitting him. Its main purpose is that way he can hold the main body within his heart. Lastly, Zohakuten. He is the entity that exists from the 4 clones fusing together. With that said, he still has all their abilities and then some of his own. He's able to create and control wood from his flesh at will, and can use blood demon arts of the 4 that he absorbed, but amplified, making him the strongest of all the clones. He also has a very intimidating ability that does not cause damage, but can leave an opponent shaking in their boots. His mere aura almost suffocates Tandro and causes pain in his heart, while leaving Genya nearly unable to stand. This seems to be shrugged off by Mitsuri though, despite never facing a demon as strong as Zohakuten. Next in line is to rank the Hashira based on strength at this part of the story. For Tengen and Rengoku, we're going to play out the scenarios as if they weren't dead, injured, or lost any limbs. I think a good starting point is to determine the weakest from the strongest Hashiras first. Genya has been stated to be the strongest from various people in the Hashira training arc, so therefore we are going to rank him at number 1. As for the weaker Hashira, there are 3 that come to mind. Tengen was barely able to hold his own against upper rank 6 Gyotaro. Rengoku was being toyed with from Akaza, but still managed to catch him off guard with the sheer willpower. Unfortunately, Mitsuri is being dragged into this because Rengoku was training her, so by hierarchy, she should be below him. In my opinion, this will separate the two. Rengoku will be more motivated than ever to become stronger in order to put Akaza to rest, and will work hard to improve his skills to the max. Tengen, on the other hand, I don't think his motivations are in the same place. After his 3 wives are in danger, they want him to pull back and live a quiet and peaceful life together, and I think that Tengen has a little bit of feeling of that too. Despite his pride of wanting him to keep pushing forward, he has 3 beautiful wives as motivation for a different journey. So based on that assumption, going into the Swordsmith Village fights, Tengen is at the bottom. Next in line is a hard one for me due to personal bias, but I think it's a fair placement. After Tengen is Shinobu Kojo. Despite their size difference, she may lack strength, but makes up for it with speed and her poisons used to kill demons. It is for that reason I want to place her higher, but if at any point she is outsped or hit, she will take some serious damage if not killed. Next is Mitsuri. It can be questionable if she surpassed Rengoku in power since she developed her own technique, but we'll just assume that she is still below Rengoku given that his motivations and intentions are more in line with getting stronger and being recognized by his father compared to her wanting to find someone stronger than her to find a partner. Then we have Rengoku. I'll explain his reasonings with our next rank, Michiro Tokito. He was able to solo upper rank 5 Gyoko. This is a fact, not speculation. It would be unfair to rank Rengoku higher than Michiro based on assumptions when we have the facts right in front of us. I also didn't rank Michiro higher because I feel he doesn't have the experience of the other Hashiras above him have. Then a 3-way tie for second are Giyu, Sanemi, and Obara. Giyu and Sanemi seem to be on equal terms in their solo fight, and then based on that, and Sanemi being on equal terms too. So my official list on Hashira from weakest to strongest are as follows and will be used for the remainder of my series facing upper moons. Starting from the weakest, we have Tengen, Shinobu, Mitsuri, Rengoku, Michiro, 3-way tie with Giyu, Sanemi, and Obanai, and then lastly, Guillaume at the strongest. Next is to lay the groundwork for these fights. We are going to match each Hashira with the Hantengu as it did in the village. So with Tanjiro at their side for base Hantengu, and then once beheaded, they will face Sekido and Karaku. And then instead of the Hashira being blown away like Michiro did, they will remain in the fight. Once Aitsu and Rurogi appear, then Nezuko will join the party. Part 1 of this is if the Hashira can handle the 3 of them with Nezuko while Tanjiro gets taken away. Then the scenario where they hunt down the main body and leads to the transformation of Suhakajin will occur. But this may vary on how I feel it will pan out. From there, we will branch from 2 different scenarios. Can they handle Zohakajin until the main body is destroyed, or can they take down Yuromi and defeat the main body themselves? For the scenario where the Hashira pursues the main body, Mitsuri will arrive and fend Zohakajin off. When it comes to her evaluation, another stronger Hashira will take her place. We will also be going from weakest to strongest. With this incredibly long intro, laying out all the ground rules, establishing and addressing abilities, and then ranking the Hashira, this is why I put out this video for so long. It's the pain in the ass complicated opponent. So do me a favor, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. This video was a lot of work and it would mean a lot to me. Tengen Uzumi. With his speed and awareness, he will behead Hantengu immediately, just like Michiro. Since Tanjiro was able to behead and do damage to these clones, it's fair to say that he will be able to handle these with minimal issues. Now there are 4 clones. Tanjiro gets taken away by Yurogi, leaving a 3-on-2 scenario. This is where Tengen's stamina will come into play. No matter how many times he beheads them, they will come back. So even if he can handle them for a long period of time, he still has to wait for Tanjiro to get back, like in the main story. Since the events at the Entertainment District, Nezuko will have some trust with Tengen and then use her Blood Demon Art to power up Tengen's cleavers. This will give him time to recover. Once Tanjiro gets back and with Nezuko's power up, he can take them out long enough to start searching for the main body. Entering the branch scenario, can Tengen last until daybreak with Zohakajin? That's a solid no, because he was left alone with Yuto for a little while and was presumably dead. Zohakajin is 2 ranks above him, so he would stand no chance. This is also the reason that he would not have developed a Demon Slayer mark and would therefore lose before he even gets one. As he pursues the main body, he will be able to handle Yuromi and the main body with ease, since Tanjiro was able to do so injured and with fighting all night against the clones. Shinobu Kojo. Upon Hantengu's arrival, she will not be able to be beheaded. Instead, she will deal a lethal dose of poison. Nowhere in his abilities does it state that he has a poison immunity or resistance, so it's speculative if he would live or not. My thoughts is that he would not live. At this time, she was already ingesting wisteria poison and was doing it for about a year or so before the Infinity Castle. The events of this takes place 2 months prior to the Infinity Castle, therefore giving her enough time to make a lethal dose of poison to work on an upper rank. I will say it's most likely not perfected without the aid of Tamio, but I would imagine that the time used with Tamio would be used for making the drug against Muzan, where her attempts with Doma were done on the side. With this dose of poison going into the main body, he would be eliminated without any destruction that would come to be. Some could argue that this is biased because she's my favorite character, so let's rerun this scenario as if she was not able to kill her with the poison. The poison would heavily weaken him, allowing Tanjiro to step in and behead him. In doing so, the clones would emerge. Between the two of them, they can handle them. But once the other two come out, it would be a little bit more of a struggle. Shinobu could deal jabs with their poisons, and Tanjiro can finish them off. But with the repeated use of her poisons, it would prove as counterproductive, because then he would slowly become immune to it. Even if she can hold off with Nezuko until Tanjiro returns, she would stand zero chance against Zohakiden. When it comes to hunting down Yoromi, she'd have to rely on Tanjiro to slice him up and get to the main body. Even then, Tanjiro would kill him off, as Shinobu would likely try to protect Nezuko from the sun and help her instead. Mitsuri Kanroji. It would be tough to draw and use her blade in that small room. Therefore, Tanjiro would have to slice Hantengu's head off. With the destruction in the building and being drawn outside, this is where Mitsuri would shine. She is shown taking a sound blast from Zohakiden head on and taking some damage. These attacks from him are amplified, remember. So any attack from these 4 clones, she can take with her 8 times muscle density. She most likely will be the first 2 on her own, since the other 2 will appear and Tanjiro is taken away. Mitsuri would be able to handle the 3, but will start to lose stamina with her fresh new sister-like bond with Nezuko. She would aid her in combat with the flames, therefore making it easy for Mitsuri to recover since it won't regenerate as fast. Tanjiro returns and they can easily go look for the main body. I'd say for stamina purposes, her running all the way back to the village like in the main story would be comparable to her level of stamina after fighting the first few clones. So she would be fighting Zohakiden on even terms with the other variation, and the end result would be the same. When hunting down Yoromi, it'll be easier to fight than Zohakiden and can take them both down with their mark. Kyojo Rengoku. He would immediately send Hantengu like Michiro did and behead him immediately. The other clones would appear and he would handle them with ease as well, allowing Tanjiro to help aid him. The other 2 emerge, and after a short amount of time, he would send Tanjiro to find the main body once Tanjiro notices another scent, therefore handling a 4-on-2 matchup with Nezuko. Nezuko aids Rengoku with her flames because he said at the Mugen Train that he believes in her putting her life on the line for other humans. On top of this, Rengoku had a mental power-up from Akaza, which will lead him to destroying these guys with ease. On the hunt for the main body, and they have to deal with Zohakiden. Rengoku would refuse to find the main body and leave that task to Tanjiro because of the impurity and raw hatred of Zohakiden. With the determination that he needs, he'd be able to develop a Demon Slayer mark and can take him on better than Mitsuri did, and actually put Zohakiden on the defensive. We know Tanjiro is capable of handling Yoromi and the main body, so there's no need to run through that scenario because Rengoku would not leave Zohakiden to someone else. Like in the main story, he'd behead him immediately and get blown away. Except this time, he makes his way back to Tanjiro without interruption. By the time he gets back, Tanjiro would already be taken away, where Genya and Nezuko would be fighting the 3. Michiro would come in and start taking control of the situation until Tanjiro returns. They seek the main body and encounter Zohakiden. Sadly, he would stand no chance because he would not have gotten the Demon Slayer mark. The encounter with Gyoko made him recall Tanjiro's words that triggered a flashback of his past, therefore having some key character growth that allowed him to gain his mark. This would not happen because Zohakiden will not be letting up on his attacks long enough for Michiro to daydream about his past. Michiro comes to the scene and holds off Zohakiden so he can search for their main body. When the sun starts to rise and Nezuko is burning in the sunlight, Michiro sees Tanjiro's brokenness. He then gets a crucial flashback, gains a mark from exhaustion of fighting all night long, and then swoops in to kill both Yoromi and the main body in a single slash. Obanai Iguro. With some warning from Kubamaru, Obanai would be the one greeting Hantengu before he even opens the door, sending him running. The altercation begins outside now, with the delay of Tanjiro trying to catch up. Obanai quickly beheads him and comes out 2 clones. With zero hesitation, he can slay both of these before Tanjiro arrives. He then would tell Tanjiro that the main body ran off and to go find it. Being outnumbered 4-1 would be no issue for him, as his fighting style and breathing techniques would make him well suited for multiple opponents. Once the main body is discovered by Tanjiro, the clones go to it and Obanai to follow. Mitsuri arrives to help Zohakiden. Obanai would not allow Mitsuri to take on such a menacing opponent and chooses to take on Zohakiden head on and send Mitsuri to help aid Tanjiro. Mitsuri blushing and getting all googly-eyed over his strength and courage. His slithering attack style would be a perfect match for the tree dragons, but he would be held back by the sound-based attacks as it would do damage to Kubamaru. The struggle to tend to a snake and not dying for Mitsuri's sake, and then being on the offensive would push him to his limits and the Demon Slayer mark would come to be. Rather than being on equal footing to Zohakiden, this would give him an upper hand in the fight, more so than Rengoku would have, even to the point where he can defeat Zohakiden. It was never revealed on what would happen if Suhakuten would be defeated. Would he regenerate as is, or would the fusion of the emotion demons separate? I think that if Suhakuten were to be defeated, that they would all split up. That makes the most sense to me, and these are my scenarios, so that's how this is happening. Obanai defeats Suhakuten, and then the clones separate. Their regeneration would be much lower this time, since the fusion took a lot of energy to accomplish. This would make Obanai defeat these a lot easier, and then he would just have to wait for Tanjiro to defeat the main body. And that task would be accomplished much sooner because of Mitsuri's aid. So here we finally have the Hashira able to defeat Suhakuten based on my simulations of the fight. Knowledge from future parts of the story were needed in order to figure out his skill level, since he wasn't shown doing any major fighting in the previous parts of the story. Giyu being with Tanjiro and Nezuko in the room would make him not have his guard up as much. The scenario where the main body enters would still be the same as Muchiro. Giyu would attack immediately and behead him, and Tanjiro aids in this situation. And then they get divided into the 4 clones. Giyu attempts to protect Tanjiro and Nezuko with his dead calm ability. But there is one issue here. His technique is not a supernatural power. It is a defensive sword technique. Therefore, 3 of the 4 attacks would not be blocked because they are not physical attacks. He cannot protect against wind, sound, or electric moves. He would take damage from the sound attack like Mitsuri, get blown away like Michiro, get electrocuted like everyone else in these fights with the anger clone. In this barrage of attacks, the clone with the fan would not attack immediately, since the other clones are affected by these 2 attacks. The mental struggle of his ace card not working would put him more on the offensive than defensive. He quickly adapt to this after the first attack, then easily take out the 4. He would send Tanjiro and Nezuko to find the main body. Suhakuten emerges while he tries to aid Tanjiro. Instinctively, he would realize that Suhakuten is much more powerful than before, and would send Tanjiro off to protect him. But struggling to chip away at Suhakuten, he is starting to get tired, sloppy, and a tree dragon slashes him into the ground. He gets up, angered, saying, "That really hurt my back." And then the Demon Slayer mark appears, and after a short amount of time, Suhakuten is defeated and the 4 clones split up. Mitsuri arrives and Giyu tells her to go find Tanjiro and help with the main body. Tanjiro defeats Hantengu quicker with Mitsuri's help. It would be very hard for Sanemi to be in the swordsmith village at this time, so the only scenario that would put him here is needing a new sword made. That would be a struggle for him since Genya and Tanjiro are here. While walking in the village at night, Sanemi senses something lurking and finds Hantengu on the rooftop and attacks immediately. The clones emerge and destroys without hesitation. And now it's a 4-on-1. Again, handles it with no hesitation or struggle with the flurry of his attacks. He does spot a demon running away but cannot lead the fight, putting him in a bind. The chaos of the battle draws in Tanjiro and Genya. Sanemi angered by the sight of them, but knowing that he has to rely on them. He sends them to find the demon while he handles the 4 since they are the biggest threat at the moment. The clones merge and become Suhakuten. Sanemi realizing that this monster is a real threat, he gets locked in and takes it head on. At first he's able to handle the barrage of attacks that puts Suhakuten on the defensive, but his stamina starts to fade as his limits are pushed. He experiences a mental amp and wanting to protect his brother, and a mark emerges. He's able to quickly defeat Suhakuten after this and splits up into the 4 clones. Mitsuri arrives with the clones weakened and leaves it to her and goes off to track Tanjiro and Genya. He catches up to them and defeats the main body himself, not giving them a chance to fight. He does this in order to show his dominance and make Genya feel useless enough to leave the core. He also does not want Tanjiro to become Hashira since he hates him. Lastly, we have Guillaume. While in the room with Tanjiro, he's able to notice movement on the rooftops and heads up there and spots Hantengu and quickly pulverizes him with his ball and chain. He does so much damage that he does not spit out clones. Right away, as they walk away, Guillaume realizes that the main body is not disintegrated, turns into 2 clones, and attacks immediately. Now there are 4. Guillaume notices that there is a 5th demon running away and sends Tanjiro and Genya to track it down while he holds off the 4. With Guillaume defeating them effortlessly and so quickly, the anchor clone pulls out the fusion quicker in the mainline story and has to fight Suhakuten in the middle of the town versus in the woods, making protecting civilians his top priority to try to drag the fight into the woods. While starting off on the back foot in order to direct the fight somewhere else, he's able to overcome them and be a dominating force in the fight. Repeatedly swinging his chain and breaking down the tree dragons, Mitsuri arrives and tag teams with Guillaume to tackle Suhakuten for the last little bit of time, until Tanjiro defeats the main body. Because he believes his training with Genya would be enough with Tanjiro's aid to do the tasks that they are needed to do. Plus, it's convenient that Mitsuri is around so that way neither of them get the Demon Slayer mark at the time. For the anime onlys watching this, the effects of the Demon Slayer mark are not known yet, so I will still keep that a secret. On the plus side, it'll save Mitsuri the embarrassment from explaining how it felt when she had the mark, like in the current story. But that was hilarious. Whew, so that's it. So this is all the Hashira going up against Upper 4, Hantengu, and all of his clones in the Swordsmith Village. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my hypothetical storylines, and let me know if you guys thought things would have played out differently in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series with Upper Rank 3. Have a great day, and peace out.